I did some research before Tuesday's game just to confirm that yes, this was the deepest the Pirates had been in a season and holding a postseason spot since the end of the 2015 campaign. And hey, for the casual baseball fan, that was a heck of a baseball game. But for the Pirates, who, man, this is a big homestand, man, this is a big series. That's one that you feel not just because you couldn't quite get it done. I'm going back to a lot of games that they had no business losing that they lost, and that makes this one sting a little more. Good morning, and welcome to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf, and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. They shouldn't have even been in that game. If you want what's probably the correct takeaway from Tuesday's game, it's look, here's a team who's down 6-0 in the eighth. They're able to come back, force extra innings, put themselves in possession to win. That shows you how dangerous this club can be, how resilient they can be. And you know what? If that is your takeaway, that is a good takeaway. That is a fine takeaway. Because that was a ball game they shouldn't have been in. Bubba Chandler didn't pitch great. He pitched better than his line would indicate. I mean, he got a lot of bloops and bleeders and just a lot of tough luck outcomes. He only walked one. Yeah, his four-seamers looked better, but I like that he was able to transition a little more to the slider and the sinker. We saw some more changeups, some curveballs. It's like, okay, earlier this year, Bubba Chandler, whenever he doesn't have his four-seamer going, he'd keep going. He'd try to get it back on track. Here he showed maturation, that he's able to use the whole arsenal. Okay, I know this rookie season maybe hasn't been quite as high as a lot of people thought coming into the year, but I see a lot of areas like that where he's growing, with his pitch mix, with his game strategy, with his mechanics. I see that and I'm like, I think he is headed in the right direction. This is a rookie year. I think the sophomore would be a pretty good spot. This, a rough start, okay. Rookie pitchers are allowed to have a rough start every once in a while. The offense, hitting the ball hard, but not really having anything to show for it. Again, tough luck is what it is. And whenever you have those two events intersect with one another, you don't have much of a chance of winning a baseball game. And the Pirates had little chance of winning that baseball game. And then they had a great chance of winning it in the 11th. Whenever they turn that double play and it's like, okay, just got to get the automatic runner home. And it's a win. Can pinch run Billy Cook. Can do everything right. This is set up perfectly to be the deciding moment of the game, and they just couldn't. And it stinks. It's one game. It's one game. And if they win on Wednesday, they still win the series. They'd have the tiebreaker over the Diamondbacks. That's huge right now. That tiebreaker they have over the Nationals could very well be the difference between a postseason spot or not. Those are two teams in the mix. There's no one game or game 163 anymore. So if they're tied record, Pirates have the spot. If they have the same over the Diamondbacks, you start thinking, okay, that's huge. It's watching the NFL and being like, if you have the tiebreakers over a lot of these wildcard teams, that gives you a much better chance. So they're in position. If they win on Wednesday, they still have that, but they could have already clinched that. They could have already had the series and then look at the season series and be like, just win one in the desert and we're golden. Tough break. We talk coming in, this is one of the most important homestands we've seen from the Pirates since 2018, since the Chris Archer trade. Maybe if you really want to stretch it, 2024 after the trade deadline, but even then, they had started a losing streak. They were starting to lose a little bit of standing in the division, in the wild card chase. I think this was the biggest homestand since 2018. And while I don't think they've played necessarily bad baseball, as it stands right now, they're 2-3. And it really feels like they probably should have like 4 wins right now. I don't think a 2-4 homestand or a 3-3 homestand is, a death knell, but this was an opportunity to not only announce to the rest of the league with authority that yes, we are capital I in it, but also stack a couple wins together, leapfrog a team, be in a good spot. It's a tough loss. And I think it's a tough loss, not just because they weren't able to complete a game and win a game they had no business of winning, but I think back to a lot of times this year where they lost a game that they had no business losing. And those, I always think to those more after a game like this, where it's like 95% win probability and you don't cross the finish line. Because there have been a couple games like that. And if they had even like 2 more wins right now, this is a very different discussion of Pirates lose, but they're still 1 game ahead of the Diamondbacks. Versus right now, Pirates lose, and now they're 1 game behind of the Diamondbacks. Like I said, 2015 was the last time the Pirates were this deep into a season and still had a postseason spot. Now, there have been a lot of times whenever they've just been a few games out. They've been just off pace, but man, there is a big difference between having that spot, setting the pace, versus you're only 3 paces behind. You're only 3 games behind, 3.5 games behind. You're still in it. That's just 1 good weekend. And there you go. After 1 good weekend, you're just 1 good series away. 1 good week. That's basically been the best case scenario for the Pirates this past decade, whenever it's this time of year. Is, hey, they're just a couple games out. And that's valid. Whenever you're in those spots, you got to honor those years. They're in that right now, but there's all the difference in the world whenever you're at the trade deadline and you currently hold a postseason spot. Being like, let's bolster a team that if the season ended today, we'd already be in it. Not only are we showing, yeah, we think we're going to make it, we're improving this team, we're going for it all. It's just one of those small little things that you just think of how many times this year they let a game get away. And whenever you look up at the standings, 1 game behind, you think about those. There's still plenty of season left to make up for them. But imagine that feeling if this was September 28th instead. We're going to take a quick break, throw it over to Cody. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, Text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
I guess I should say, after alluding to some days where the bullpen might have blown it, bullpen deserves its flowers for Tuesday and for Monday also. I'm not buying this as like, oh, some great grand turnaround so you don't have to buy relievers. No, they still need to trade for multiple relievers, in my opinion. But it's reassuring to see just a couple innings from multiple pitchers coming through, being like, okay, there you go. There is some path occasionally of how they could put together some zeros. I think if you watch this game Tuesday, you see the vision for this club. You have a young pitcher who's throwing 99, 100, just attacking relentlessly. You have an offense that even whenever things aren't going their way, it's a rough night, they can still turn it on like that. There's that threat of not only just guys who could go station to station, just keep the line moving, but also legitimate power threats. You see the vision for this club and how, if they are able to make the postseason, maybe they could do some damage there. There is a path to success. I see the bones of a postseason team here. But as it stands right now, they're one game behind. And not one game behind because they weren't able to complete this great comeback, but one game behind because they let so many winnable games slip through their fingers. This team's run differential is over 40. Like, even in those years where the Pirates were maybe in it come the trade deadline, like 2016, 2018, 2024, they didn't have a run differential like this. They didn't have games whenever they could just pile on and win 14-3 every once in a while. They didn't have games where they just bombarded, pitchers relentlessly and just took control. This offense was lifeless last year. They had no chance of coming back from a 6-0 ball game. They didn't have the guys at the bottom of the order who could string together hits, or the guys at the top of the order who can, put a couple out to tie it up. This is a rapidly improved club, and it's one that probably should be in a postseason mix. And yeah, I do think they will buy. I'm thoroughly convinced they will buy. But man, this is a big homestand. This is a big series. Right now, they're 2-3 in it. And there's a big difference between going 3-3 and winning the series against the team that you were chasing and having that tiebreaker. There's a big difference between that and 2-4. Ben Cherington said earlier this week that they're past the point of the year where, like, what happens this homestand's going to dictate what they do at the trade deadline. They're pretty clear with what they're going to do. But if that's the case, I hope they look back to games earlier this year that they let go. If we're past the point of looking at the year like, hey, what do we need to acquire to improve this team? Don't look at Tuesday's game. Look at those games earlier this year. Get some bullpen help and just trust that this vision that we saw for a couple innings Tuesday, this vision of a team that had a postseason spot in hand, whatever it was playing, just find a way to make that more realized. Find a way to elevate that and put them in a position that they can do this again. That we're not going to be waiting another decade, 11 years, for the Pirates to have a postseason spot in late July. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore Dive presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find podcasts, or check us out on YouTube if you want to see my smiling face. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.